7. Signs your vibration resonates with both angels and demons. Imagine waking up in the middle of the night, not because of a noise, not because of a nightmare, but because of a feeling, something ancient, something vast, something watching. You sit up, heart pounding, the room heavy with silence, and you can't explain it, but you know something is near. Maybe it's light, maybe it's dark, but the truth is, it's both. And it's always been both. This video isn't about fear. It's not about angels or demons in the way that religion has told you. It's not about wings or horns, halos or pitchforks. It's about frequency. It's about the raw, unfiltered vibration that lives in your energy field. It's about what happens when your soul becomes a beacon, not just for light, but for the entire spectrum of consciousness. There are 7 signs your vibration resonates with both angels and demons, and if you're still watching, it means you already know. You've felt it. You've lived it. You've walked into rooms and noticed people either drawn to you like you're a lighthouse, or unsettled by you, like you're holding something too intense, too real, too ancient. That's not coincidence. That's not mood. That's your field, an energetic frequency that doesn't just whisper to the higher realms, but broadcasts to the entire spiritual ecosystem. And once you understand it, everything begins to make sense. The synchronicities, the dreams, the spiritual attacks, the protection, the power, the isolation, the magnetism, the chaos, all of it.
Click subscribe to this channel to get more profound spiritual lesson.
The first sign, you trigger people without trying, not just emotionally, but spiritually. You walk into a space and suddenly people feel exposed. They confess things to you they've never said out loud, or they lash out, project, or distance themselves without reason. That's not about you being too much. That's about your vibration carrying a frequency that acts like a spiritual MRI. It scans, it reflects, it reveals. Angels are attracted to that level of clarity. They see it as resonance with truth. But demons? They see it as a threat. Because you don't even need to speak to shake loose what's hiding in someone's energetic field. You just are, and that's enough. The second sign, your dreams are not just dreams, they are visits. You've had dreams where beings spoke to you, warnings, instructions. Sometimes they come as light, sometimes as shadow, but they always leave a residue. It's not just imagination, it's initiation. When your vibration is open to both realms, the soul begins to receive transmissions from both sides. Not because you're cursed, because you're chosen. You've been given access to the full spectrum of reality, and that includes the dimensions most people will never touch. Most people are tuned to one channel. You were wired for all of them. And that's not a mistake, that's preparation. The third sign, you're drawn to both beauty and decay. You see sacredness in the cathedral and in the ruins. You find meaning in chants and in screams. You can meditate in silence or feel God in a thunderstorm. That's not confusion, that's capacity. Angels are drawn to the part of you that honors beauty, service, compassion. Demons are drawn to the part of you that understands suffering, rage, chaos. You don't bypass pain, you enter it. You've seen the ugliness of the world and you didn't look away. That's why both realms notice you. because you're not afraid of the full human experience. You carry a depth that can hold everything, from ecstasy to agony, and that kind of soul is rare. The fourth sign: your energy fluctuates in ways you can't always control. One day you feel like a channel of light, healing others with your presence. The next day you feel haunted, heavy, like something is feeding off you. This is not spiritual failure, it's spiritual exposure. When your vibration resonates with both angels and demons, you become a spiritual terrain, constantly shifting, constantly receiving, constantly filtering what passes through. You're not just a being, you're a bridge. And bridges feel everything that crosses them: the joy, the sorrow, the light, the shadow. You're not broken, you're sensitive. And sensitivity is a superpower, if you know how to protect it. So how do you protect it? How do you survive being this open, this raw, this spiritually bilingual? You learn the art of energetic sovereignty. You learn to discern what's yours and what's not. You stop asking, "Why am I feeling this?" and start asking, "Who or what am I connected to right now?" You cleanse not just your space, but your field. You stop over-identifying with every emotion and begin witnessing them as visitors, not residents. Because when your frequency resonates with both angels and demons, you must become more than a person. You must become a guardian of your own essence, of your own truth, of your own path. The fifth sign: you've had moments, brief but undeniable, where you've felt completely outside of time. Moments of divine stillness, of total presence, of downloads that didn't come from your mind. And then, sometimes, the opposite: moments of spiritual war, nightmares, attacks, sudden dread with no explanation. That polarity isn't random. It's a reflection of your alignment with both forces. You're not meant to choose a side. You're meant to understand both, integrate what serves and dissolve what doesn't. Because true power doesn't come from being all light. It comes from being whole. So let me ask you something deeper. Have you ever considered that your chaos is not a mistake, but a map? That the spiritual turbulence you face is not punishment, but proof that you're standing at the intersection of realms most people never reach? What if the very things you fear about yourself are the signs that you're here to walk a path no religion ever prepared you for? What if you weren't made to fit into the spiritual systems of the past, but to birth something entirely new? And what if the reason both angels and demons respond to your frequency is because you carry the codes of both? You're not here to be perfect. You're here to be true. And truth, real truth, is magnetic to every force in existence. The question is, will you learn to stand in that truth without flinching? You've already walked through the signs. Now let's go deeper. The divine crossroads. Why you were born with a frequency that calls to both heaven and the abyss. There's a place you reach in the spiritual journey where the road forks. Not left or right, not good or bad, but deeper or higher. And you realize you're standing at a divine crossroads. Not the kind marked by signs or scriptures, but the kind woven into the DNA of your soul. You feel it in your bones, in the silence between your thoughts, in the strange magnetism that pulls you toward both the sacred and the profane. And you ask yourself, why do I feel connected to both angels and demons? Why does my heart break open in the presence of light, yet also recognize itself in the darkest shadows? The answer is simple but terrifying, because you were born between. You are the intersection. You are the thread that weaves heaven and hell together into something entirely new. And that's not a flaw, it's a function. You weren't meant to pick a side. You were meant to become the space where both sides reveal themselves, transform and evolve. That's why your vibration is so intense. That's why your presence feels like a paradox, because it is. You carry a frequency that doesn't belong to one dimension. It resonates across all of them. You've probably noticed it since childhood, how you could sense energies in a room before people spoke, how you felt the weight of things left unspoken, how you sometimes knew things you had no way of knowing. You might have thought you were broken, too emotional, too sensitive, but you weren't broken, you were tuned. And the higher your sensitivity, the wider your spiritual bandwidth. You're not just picking up signals from the human world, you're receiving echoes from the angelic and warnings from the infernal. You are a receiver, a spiritual conduit. But no one taught you this, so you tried to suppress it. You tried to turn down your volume. You tried to be normal. And every time you did, your soul withered a little. Because your soul didn't come here to fit in, it came here to awaken. And awakening is not a gentle process. It's a tearing open. It's a shattering of illusion. It's being brought to your knees in the dark, then rising with something ancient burning in your chest. Something that says, I see both worlds, I carry both languages, and I am not afraid. The sixth sign your vibration resonates with both angels and demons is this. You are a spiritual polyglot. You can speak the language of love, compassion, stillness, and divine order, but you also understand the dialect of chaos, destruction, and shadow. You don't tremble at the sight of suffering, you step toward it, not because you enjoy pain, but because you know it. You've lived through it. You've held your own darkness in your hands and didn't run. And that makes you a rare kind of soul. One who doesn't just seek the light, but one who can guide others through the dark. This is the essence of the divine crossroads. You are not here to ascend away from the world. You're here to go deeper into it, to become a vessel for transformation. That's why you've been through so much. That's why life has broken you open again and again. Not to destroy you, but to stretch your capacity. Because the more pain you've processed, the more frequencies you can hold. And the more frequencies you hold, the more beings, light and dark, take notice. Some people are tuned to only one station. You're the entire spectrum. Angels come to you because they see your potential to bring healing where others fear to go. Demons come to you because they see your strength and sometimes they test it. Not because they want to destroy you, but because they want to know if you're awake enough to carry what you say you carry. This is the test of the crossroads. Can you stand in the center of all that power and still remain clear, still remain kind, still remain free? So I ask you now, what if your spiritual confusion was never confusion at all, but the exact proof that your soul was built to hold polarities? What if your spiritual highs and lows weren't a lack of alignment, but evidence of your multidimensional nature? You are not here to simplify, you are here to embody complexity, to stop dividing yourself into good and bad, high vibe and low vibe, and to start becoming the full, raw, unfiltered expression of your frequency. That is your power. That is your gift. That is your truth. The sacred storm. why your inner chaos unlocks the language of spirits. There's a storm that lives inside those who have been chosen to carry both light and shadow. It doesn't come in lightning or rain. It comes in inner turbulence, in the sleepless nights, the sudden breakdowns, the moments where everything feels too loud, too much, too fast, and sometimes it's not even yours. It's not your sadness, not your fear, not your anger, but you feel it anyway, like thunder rolling through your bones. That is the sacred storm, and if you've lived through it, it means your vibration has become a portal, one that can translate the language of the unseen. Spirits don't speak English. They speak in energy, in symbols, in sensations, and chaos is often the first dialect they use to get your attention. See, when your vibration resonates with both angels and demons, your body becomes a battleground, but also a beacon. You are not just feeling your own emotions, you are translating frequencies. This is why your chaos isn't a flaw, it's a code, a signal that your field is alive, responsive, and deeply connected to the invisible world. But let's be honest, it doesn't always feel sacred. It feels like madness. It feels like climbing a mountain in the dark while the ground beneath you keeps shifting. You question your sanity. You question your purpose. You wonder why the peace others seem to live in feels like a dream you keep waking up from. But that's because you weren't built for stillness. You were built for movement. Your soul didn't come here to find peace in the usual ways. It came to become the eye of the storm, to find stillness in the center of chaos, where the real voice of the divine speaks. That's the seventh and perhaps most misunderstood sign. You carry spiritual contradictions so intense they confuse even you. One day you're channeling wisdom that feels like it came from another world. The next you're on the floor weeping, unsure of anything. One moment you feel divinely protected, the next you feel cursed. But here's the deep truth no one tells you. Both are real. Both are part of carrying a dual frequency vibration. Angels and demons don't just visit. You embody their echoes. You've become a living dialogue between the two extremes of the cosmos. And the storm within you, it's not just for you, it's training. Because one day, someone will walk into your life in chaos. They won't know how to explain it. They'll be drowning in their own shadow. And you'll look at them, not with judgment, not with fear, but with recognition. Because you've been there. You've survived your own storm. And that survival has become your language, a language that can calm, heal, and even transform those who don't yet know how to speak it. Think about that. What if your darkest nights were not punishments, but lessons in fluency? What if your vibration was stretched by design, so you could stand in the presence of both holiness and horror, and remain unmoved? That's not spiritual instability, that's spiritual resilience, and very few souls are built for it. But you are. You're not just a sensitive empath. You're not just a healer, you are a storm bearer, a threshold walker, and that sacred chaos inside you, that's the sound of your vibration tuning itself to the frequencies of realms most people will never touch. That's why spirits come to you. That's why energy moves through you like wildfire. You are being used, not in the negative sense, but in the divine sense. You are a vessel. And vessels don't get to choose what flows through them. They only get to choose how clear they are. So how do you stay clear when you're built to carry so much? You stop resisting the storm. You stop trying to fix your chaos. You start listening to it. You start treating it like a sacred teacher, not a curse. You ground yourself, not to silence the wind, but to anchor it. You create rituals, not to control your power, but to contain it. You learn to distinguish between the chaos that's yours and the chaos that's visiting, and most importantly, you stop explaining yourself to people who were never meant to understand your frequency. Because let's be honest, the world will label what it fears. Some will call you unstable, others will call you dangerous. But those who truly see you will call you what you really are, awake. You are the storm and the stillness, the vessel and the voice, the frequency that angels bless and demons test. And the moment you stop apologizing for your intensity is the moment your vibration becomes unstoppable. So I ask you this: what if your storm is your sanctuary? What if your chaos is the cathedral where your truest self prays? Let that question echo in your soul, because in the next part, everything changes. The final initiation, choosing to stand where light and darkness bow to you. There comes a moment in every awakened soul's journey when the masks fall, the illusions dissolve, and the path ahead is terrifyingly clear. It's not the path of light, it's not the path of shadow, it's the path that stands between them. And only those who have survived the storm, who've heard the language of spirits in their own heartbeat, who've danced with both divinity and darkness, only they can truly walk it. This is the final initiation. And it doesn't come as a revelation, it comes as a choice. The choice to no longer run from your power, the choice to no longer dilute your energy to make others comfortable, the choice to stop trying to earn light and stop trying to avoid shadow, the choice to finally accept what you've always been, a being whose vibration is so rare, so multidimensional, that even angels pause in reverence. And demons too take notice, not because they own you, but because they recognize you. You see, power is not about dominance, it's about presence. When you're truly embodied in your frequency, when you've made peace with your chaos and stopped apologizing for your fire, both realms shift. Light no longer tries to save you, darkness no longer tries to tempt you, because they both understand you are not theirs to sway, you are your own, and that sovereignty, that untouchable stillness, is what makes the final initiation so sacred. So how do you know you've reached it? You stop trying to be good, you start being true. You stop speaking only of love and light, and you begin to speak the full truth of your soul. Even when it's messy, even when it's heavy, even when it scares people. You become unshakable not because you never feel fear, but because fear no longer changes your direction. You don't run from the dark anymore. You listen to it. You don't over-identify with the light either. You question it. You begin to see that both forces, angelic and demonic, exist not to control you, but to mirror back to you the depth of your own becoming. I expect you that experience has depth. This is where the game changes, because now you're not chasing awakening, you are awakening. You're not trying to raise your vibration to ascend. You're grounded in your frequency like a lightning rod, calling down wisdom, channeling energy, walking through this world like a living bridge between realms. You become the temple. You become the storm. You become the place where ghosts find peace and angels find purpose. And strangely, this is where life becomes quiet. Not because there's no noise, but because your soul no longer flinches. The chaos may still come, but you hold it differently now. The visits may continue, but you honor them instead of fearing them. You stop asking, "Why me?" and start whispering, "Of course me," because you realize now your vibration was always designed for this. You didn't stumble into this path, you were born for it. So the final question is not, am I cursed or blessed? The final question is, what will I do now that I know who I am? Will you keep hiding behind half-truths that make others feel safe? Or will you rise into your full, terrifying, breathtaking power and let the world feel the full pulse of your frequency? Because in this final initiation, there's no more pretending. You either stand as you are, or you disappear into the roles others wrote for you. You either embrace both the angel and the demon within, or you continue splitting yourself in the name of false peace. But if you choose to stand fully, if you choose to walk the middle path with eyes open and heart ablaze, then something extraordinary happens. The forces that once tried to sway you begin to serve you. Not because you control them, but because you've become the one thing they both respect: unalterable truth. And that is the highest vibration of all.